Happens when a narcissist is diagnosed with a terminal illness like cancer, something that they have no hope recovering from. How do they behave? How does that impact you, and how should you respond to all of that? Let's talk about it and learn in today's episode. Hi, I am Danish, a narcissistic abuse recovery professional. In this episode, we're going to talk about the narcissist who is diagnosed with a terminal illness like fourth stage cancer, third stage cancer, something the recovery from which is extremely difficult, or we can say impossible. How do they behave? What changes can you see in their behavior, and what do they mean? How should you respond to those changes, and what can you do with your own emotional state? If that sounds interesting and you are eager to learn with me, please make sure to subscribe by pressing the subscribe button and push the bell icon to stay updated with everything latest that I post over here. Let's get started with a question. The narcissist who hurt you, were they diagnosed with a terminal illness? If yes, what was their behavior like? Drop your experiences in the comments below and help other survivors feel less alone in their experiences with the narcissist they are dealing with. Let's first understand the narcissist's dilemma. The narcissist's dilemma is simple. On the outside, they want you to think they are impenetrable. They cannot be hurt by anything. They're not vulnerable. They do not have any flaws. But when the reality strikes them, all of this false self shatters. And the truth of human condition is revealed to them because nature spares none. They're a human being after all, even though they want to believe otherwise. They want to believe they're immortal, but that is not the truth. So that is their dilemma. They want to believe one thing, but the reality is completely different. And they avoid believing or seeing their reality until something big happens, like getting diagnosed with a third stage or fourth stage cancer, aggressive cancer that they cannot survive. When they are diagnosed with a condition that is life-threatening, that is chronic, that they cannot recover from, you see a complete 180 turn in their behavior. They completely change. And what changes do you see? They become docile. They become soft, or at least pretend to be soft, because they know now at this point in their life they need a lot of support. They need other people to hold their hand. They need other people to be there for them. And they know they have been an asshole, a jerk throughout their life, and they do not have any true relationship with anyone, even their own children or their partners. No one is going to be there if they do not mellow down a little bit. So you see that softer side coming up. They might even apologize. They might even acknowledge the things they have done to you throughout their life. And they might also say sorry. But this sorry would be half-assed. There would be no depth to it. It wouldn't cover everything that they have done. They might say a couple of things like, I was aggressive, or I was stressed and I treated you the way I shouldn't have, and I regret that, blah, 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 because they need you to be there. All in all, they're extremely scared. They are very afraid of death and facing the reality. The reality is they're not going to make it alive. So they are paranoid. They are anxious. They might also lose the capability to function. They might stop talking. They might talk, but it would be babbling, ranting. It wouldn't make any sense, or they would be all over the place. You would see that entropy, that disorder showing itself up more on the surface when something as terrible as this happens to them. They rely on anyone who promises to offer some kind of support. They want to depend on them because they know if they're able to make other people feel empathetic, then that is going to be useful for them at this point where there is nothing but absolute hopelessness. As their child or their partner, at this point, there are many possibilities when it comes to how you feel about the situation. You could feel re-traumatized because everything is now coming to an end. This transition is like right happening in front of your eyes, and you might be guilt-tripped into taking care of them by your siblings or by the person directly, by your children, if it is your spouse. And there are so many possibilities, and you might feel a deep deep guilt and the burden of obligation to be there for them because they're suffering, and you're a compassionate and an empathetic human being who has to be there for the one who caused you the most harm. If you are the one who resonates with this, who feels this way, you need to understand that it's not your responsibility. It's not your responsibility to take care of the person who caused you so much pain and trauma. But if you want to do it, do it. However, you need to be mindful. You cannot be there for them at the expense of your peace, at the expense of the stability and safety that you have established in your life now. You need to also remember that this person, yes, they are at a very bad point in their life, but they are still a narcissist. And their narcissistic self, it has not gone anywhere. It has not fully dissolved. It is still in them. And the probability of it coming up to the surface quite often than before is really high. Because a scorpion is always going to be a scorpion. No matter how much you try to pet it, it will bite. That is in its personality. That is who it is. That is what it is. So the narcissist is always a narcissist, even if it is an ailing narcissist. Even if a narcissist is struggling like this, they're still a narcissist and have not forgotten how to do the things they did before. But the opposite, at this point in their life, they have lost all the control over themselves, over their situation. So they are going to act out more. They are going to throw tantrums. They are going to abuse more. And unfortunately, you are going to give them a pass. That is highly likely, because you would think, well, they are suffering, they are struggling, so probably this is the end of their life. So why not take a little more abuse? Why not be a little more patient? Why not give them the space? Their condition, if it prolongs, they are going to traumatize the hell out of you. And if you are not fierce at protecting yourself, if you do not have any boundaries and just be there for them completely and totally, openly, without having limitations, they would violate you. Because at this point, they have turned into a complete predator who would hunt and prey on anything and anyone that would meet the supply demand. So you can be the direct target. The other possibility is that you may not feel anything at all towards them emotionally, because the mother or the father or the spouse who is struggling, who has this condition, died for you a long time ago, at least emotionally. They don't exist. This is just a body that you're taking care of. The transition happened. The death happened a long time ago, and you probably have already grieved it, or you are in the process of it. They're already gone for you. Or the worst case, they never existed for you. You never had a mother. You never had a father. You never felt you had one. So this means nothing to you. If this is how you feel towards what is going on now in their life, you are not a bad person. It's okay to feel that way. It's okay to let it go that way. It may be daunting for you to witness the human condition and how we all have to face death sooner or later. That may be something that can ground you, that can motivate you to take life a little more seriously in a good way, and maybe it can humble you a little bit. It can humble us all, because that is the truth of the life. But if you feel completely objective towards it and you do what a good human being would do, what the right thing is to do, that is also okay. That's fine. All in all, this narcissist becomes a very vulnerable, childlike being at this point and wants everyone to cater to their needs, or becomes very fragile, very anxious, runs after everyone who they think would help them to get out of this misery. The truth is, if they end up surviving this terminal illness, I can guarantee you that they would become the same asshole they were before being diagnosed. So keep that in mind, and also take care of yourself if you're dealing with a parent or a spouse who is going through a difficult time and is a narcissist. That was all for today's episode. I hope you found it insightful. If you did, please let me know in the comments, and make sure to subscribe and share this episode. I'll talk with you in the next one. Until then, let the healing begin.